So I just came back from a weekend with Jacob, who this conversation is with. Now, Jacob's a close friend of mine, but he is a bit of a psychopath. He actually took on Hyrox in a weighted vest. Now, what's crazy about that is not necessarily that he's done Hyrox in a weighted vest, but he's also done it off about 4 days' notice. He is the type of guy, honestly, if I had to call a mate at 2 a.m. and get him to jump into a challenge, and if they didn't answer, I would die, Jacob will always keep me living. He is the yes man to challenges, and considering he's a power lifter and still takes on some pretty nasty challenges, it makes it even more elite. He's also a killer bloke, so enjoy the conversation. How you feeling since Hyrox?
So I think in the lead up to Hyrox, I was only doing like one run, maybe two, like one long run and like an interval run, and then obviously, because I did 2 back to back, that's like, with like the rock zones, it's like 9.5 Ks. So suddenly going from like 8 Ks a week to 20 Ks, my calves are like jacked up and like started to get like plantar fasciitis kind of vibes. So my feet have been real sore. But apart from that, I'm feeling pretty good. My traps, like you said, like as soon as like we finished I think it was even just putting the vest on, you're like, your traps are going to be cooked. And I was like, I feel like it would be okay. Man, got some sore traps still.
You still got sore traps?
Yeah, I still got sore traps.
What are your thoughts on Hyrox in general? Because we obviously, just a bit of context for anyone who does listen to this, we were training for it together to do doubles.
Yep.
And then obviously I got injured.
Dogged me.
So we went from going to do doubles, from you doing doubles and singles with a weighted vest.
Yeah. Well, the whole prep was to do doubles. So I was just anticipating to do the 8Ks of running and then just half of all of the strength stuff. And you being you, I was like, you're going to do most like the heavy lifting and all that strength stuff. Just because like you're a weapon in terms of like all your like functional strength stuff. So all I had to imagine was like, I just got to keep up with you for the runs, which I felt pretty confident.
Yeah,
you would
definitely have me in the runs.
So I was like, all I have to do is just get through the functional one, like the functional strength stuff, and then I'd be fine with the runs. To then flip it completely around and have to do all of it solo with a weighted vest was a big throw in the deep end.
When you were taught, when you just, well, actually just, when
I didn't decide anything.
Yeah, I was just, more context here. It was, how much notice did you have before you were putting on the vest?
Well, you did your calf, or you tweaked your calf, 2 weeks out? And then
I didn't even warn you about the vest until like 4 days?
4 days? Yeah. So I didn't have any idea. I thought I'd probably do it solo just because we're going all that way. I may as well do the solo ticket, like your solo ticket. But the weighted vest app spec was like a very last minute one. I didn't realize we were going to do it in the weighted vest until a couple of days beforehand. So that was like an extra span in the works. And obviously I've been running, so the whole prep, I was like, I'm going to get super light so that I can be like super light and then just cruise through all the runs. And then that pretty much, well, it probably still helped that I was light, but then I became 90 kilos with the vest on there. So now I'm running with 90 kilos going through my calves every single step. That was a bit of a shock to the system.
How did it compare you started with the vest, so you didn't have like a base of what it was like prior, but then you went straight in and did doubles the next day.
Yeah.
How did it compare doing the vest to no vest?
To be honest, I think the vest probably like initiation by fire. Like I've never done any Hyrox stuff. I'm a powerlifter through and through. So do like this kind of like cardio focused strength stuff was, I had experienced the worst. So the doubles felt pretty good, but like not amazing. Like I was like a completely different realm. So like the weighted vest one was literally just survive. Like you have to get through this and just survive this and endure. Whereas the doubles one, I was like pushing hard and like trying to get a good time. So it was more like more like a mental discomfort of like, I have to push and go faster than what I am comfortable with, obviously, to get a good time. Whereas the weighted vest one, I was like, the time wasn't really super relevant. I just wanted to survive it and get through it. And as you saw at the end, the wall balls, I was dying. I would do like 10 wall balls, have to sit down for like 10 minutes and then go again for another 10 wall balls. Like I could not survive that. But then the doubles, I was fine with it. I was cruising. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to do with the weighted vest, I mean, singles compared to doubles is obviously going to be harder anyway because you're taking on 100% of the exercises.
Yeah.
But then also, every time you went on a run, you were just burnt with the vest.
Yeah.
What was the hardest exercise in the vest?
Wall balls for sure. Like,
But is that because it was at the end?
nah, it was the wall balls. Like when I got to the end of the doubles, I was cruising through the wall balls. I could have done 100 of those. I could have got the Red Bull badge.
It's interesting because I think anyone that would watch it or knows about it would go, oh, burpees by far the worst because you're doing burpees in a weighted vest, which is just fucked. And then maybe I would think of another hard one. I don't know.
I went into it thinking you're going to do all the burpees. I thought I was going to do none of the burpees.
Yeah, well, that sucks.
So I went into it thinking burpees, I'll do like a couple just to give you a rest. And then you're the world record holder. Like, I'm going to chill with that. You run with that. You go nuts. But the worst part of it, the burpees weren't that hard. Every time you jumped, I got smacked in the face with that weighted vest. So I was basically getting KO'd and knocked out every single jump I did with the burpees with the weighted vest on. So they weren't like cardio hard. I was just trying not get knocked out and passed out on the ground.
Yeah, it definitely turned, like having the vest definitely turned it from a, like, I guess, performance challenge into an endurance challenge. Because, like, you know, I feel like most fit people could do Hyrox.
Yeah.
But like, soon as you put the vest on, it turned into an actual proper endurance challenge.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like Hyrox is like necessarily easy, but I think when you think of endurance challenges, right, you think of like achievable versus not achievable versus like how well you do. You know what I mean? There's like that level of, can you actually do it?
I think it was, like the endurance aspect, it was like just survive and get through this. Whereas the doubles was more performance based. Like, I want to get a good time and I'll push myself in a different realm. Mentally, the weighted vest, much more like a mental challenge of like, go to that dark place and just get through this. Like, I feel like more like a 24-hour challenge like you do. Whereas the doubles is more of like, I want to get a good time and perform well here. So a different kind of mindset.
Yeah, you don't have to dig to finish necessarily. You're more digging to get a good time.
Yeah. Which arguably I would say is easier. Like
definitely easier. 100%. It's fucking, one's got a vest, one doesn't. Like, yeah, there's a no-brainer. Yeah. 100%.
I loved the vest. I think I enjoyed the vest more though. Yeah. I enjoy, similar to you, and that's why we get along well, is like I enjoy going to that dark place and that place of like you're back up against the wall and every part of you is saying to stop and give up here, but you just have to like keep pushing that one step in front of the other one. It's just different when you do the doubles one because like you're pushing to get a time, you're pushing to get a good score and like I guess perform well. It's just good in its own in its own space, but I enjoy the part where your body is like, I need to give up, I need to stop, I can't keep doing this. Yeah, I
mean, you've taken on randomly quite a few challenges as well because I mean, like you're a straight powerlifter. Like, like 100% of your training is powerlifting.
Yeah.
Do you do any cardio outside of your powerlifting?
None. Okay. I do no cardio. And so when you said to do this, I was like, oh, I'll probably just start running.
But what's crazy is you still perform pretty well across other areas. Like your Hyrox time was still really good. Like you only added 20 minutes to the average in a weighted vest, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And like even with the doubles, like doubles I did with Shelley, she and her partner last year got an hour 6. Obviously they're in the different age category. They got an hour 6 and we did an hour 7 when I was a day post weighted vest endurance. So there's a part of me that's interested to see what we could do if I was fresh.
Yeah. What do you think it is about the going to the dark place that you like?
I think it's the fact that you learn so much about your mentality and your aspect of like what you can achieve outside of that is completely blown out of the water. That's why I like doing it because it resets. Every time I do these weird, wonderful challenges, even like watching you, but even doing them myself, it sets that ceiling that you think you have, and it just pushes it so much higher. I do these, like when we did the first challenge, I was like, what I thought I could achieve got blown out of the water. I realized I had so much more potential lying there that my mind was stopping me from doing. So then I think that honestly, since meeting you and doing these challenges, my capacity to push hard in all aspects of my life has improved tenfold. like looking at my schedule and my workload that I do with like work and teaching and stuff now, go back, how long have we known each other? 4 years?
Yeah,
Something
when
like that?
I mean, when did we even first meet? I don't even know.
I've been doing the Chasing
Oh,
Hards.
the retreat. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we've only known each other for what, 3-4 years, but like my ability to do and take on more and push myself, both not just mentally, physically, sorry, but like in so many aspects of my life, has gone up tenfold. I would not have imagined 4 years ago the workload I have now being able to survive that. And now I'm doing 2 full-time jobs at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting how it does transfer. And I think that's one of the reasons I like it as well, is you go from thinking you were capable of, X, and then now you're capable of Y.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was just push one area so much, and then it expands into other areas.
Yeah.
Because your first challenge, was that the lunges? The first, you've done fitness challenges, I guess, and you've done powerlifting, but your first, suck fest, I guess you could call it.
That's got a bad connotation to it for sure,
yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so your first suck fest, we're going to run with that.
Yeah.
Was that the lunges?
Lunges, for sure.
Before that, was there anything?
I mean, apart from doing like your Saturday morning chasing like hard sessions, that was like my first, I guess, introduction to hard things. But like my real suck fest was that walking lunge. That's where I learned, or I got the opportunity kind of presented itself where I was like in that lunge, I was halfway through it, maybe.
Wait, explain the challenge first.
All right,
everyone's got no idea.
I think it was one of the first challenges you guys ever ran. With
Yeah,
the
it
Harry's.
was OG first Harry's challenge. It's a wild first challenge to put up as well.
Yeah, can I say that was I reckon it's one of the hardest challenges you've done. I won $100 on that. And then the next one was like do 3 minutes of burpees and they won like $1,000. And I was like, I got stitched up.
The budgets went up and our expectations of people went down.
Yeah, massively. Is that a good thing? So first challenge, I think you messaged me like the day before and you're like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And so I got a couple of hours in the middle of the day free. And so you're like, cool, come to Albert Park. I don't think you even told me what we were doing, to be honest. You just said, come to Albert Park. And so I was like, okay, rocked up. It was you, Stieg, and Ash. And you're like, okay, we're going to do a challenge to walking lunge around Albert Park. Which I feel like you guys assumed would take us like an hour to do.
Well, it was, for context, for anyone who doesn't know Albert Park, it's 5 point. Is it 5Ks? I think it's about 5Ks on the nose.
I think it was pretty much 5Ks, bit more maybe. And so you're like, all right, we're going to walking lunge around Albert Park. And none of us conceptualized how far that was and how long it was going to take us. And so we started, and it was also peak summer. Like, that was the worst part. So we started doing it, and I got ahead of Stieg and Ash pretty early on.
Not surprised. Yeah.
And then I think, we're like an hour in, and then I was probably like a third of the way, not even a quarter of the way around. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty sore here. And then 2 hours in, I was probably halfway around the Albert Park, and you're like, oh, I got a meeting. I got to go. You keep going. I'll come back.
What a dog.
So now you left me and I had to keep on going. And I don't think you told me Steve and Ash like tapped out until like probably like 3/4 of the way around. And then it was peak summer. I was getting sunburnt like crazy. I had no food, no water, no hydration. So just 3 hours in 30-degree heat, walking, lunging around Albert Park.
It was hours, wasn't it? What was the total time it took you?
I think we did like 4 something hours of like walking lunges pretty much straight. And I just ran with like every minute on the minute, just do 10 lunges.
Oh, yeah, and the boys had to go to like 7-Eleven to get you stuff because you
guys came back and forth with this Powerades and stuff by the end of it. And I couldn't walk for, I think, 2 months afterwards. Yeah,
you're kind of like my go-to if... Like
that's a bad thing.
Which is just weird. I'm like, if I have like a short amount of notice and I need someone to do a challenge, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Which is just so funny considering you train full-time powerlifting, but you're just always up for it.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't say yes, then you never find out what your real potential is. The push-up challenge that you did, you messaged me at like...
That's right.
I feel like it was like 10
Dude,
p.m.
You've done some challenges, man.
You messaged me at 10 p.m. and you're like, come to my house at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're doing push-ups.
Yeah.
So I rocked up at 3 a.m. and then we did 3,000 push-ups.
Yeah, 3,200 or 490. Don't cut us short though.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm very much like I just say yes to everything. I mean, I'm a big believer on say yes and figure it out later.
Like Yes Man from Jim Carrey.
Pretty much, yeah. I think I said I don't think I've even seen that movie, but it's like I don't know what I'm capable of unless I try it.
Yeah.
And there's so many opportunities that kind of arose from just saying yes and figuring it out. I don't think I've had a time where I haven't figured out the answer. Like I say yes and shit hits the fan, but I find a way to make it work somehow.
Do you know what's kind of exciting and also terrifying? Most of these challenges you've done, you haven't trained. Well, you did train for Hyrox a little bit. We did train for that. Not in a weighted vest at all, which is completely different. But you had at least a base there.
Yeah, we had 2 months or something.
But like the lunges, the push-ups, the marathon that you did, the Hyrox stuff, like you haven't done a specific prep, which would be very interesting to see how you'd go on like a specific prep, like with proper endurance training. I reckon you'd fucking dominate it.
Dude, I get so bored doing endurance stuff. I don't know how you do it.
It's so boring. I have watched every single season on Netflix. Not like one show, like I'm like all of them.
Netflix's highest subscriber.
100%. I'm on the premium membership for sure. But I think Zone 2 sucks.
Yeah.
Like doing just hours and hours and hours of Zone 2 is quite boring. And most of the time you choose an event that requires like a monster amount of endurance. There's not a lot of like creativity and you don't get a lot of like variability in the training. Like dips, you just do dips.
So I enjoy doing these challenges with no prep though, because I think that's where the suck comes from. And it's like
it's easier to find it if you're not prepared for it.
Exactly.
100%.
And I'm like, I'd rather not prepare and go into that dark place and like find that suck in a different way. I'd rather do that than prepare for it and maybe not suck as much. I don't know.
I get that. And that's probably why we get along as well, but because we have a lot of these similarities. But I've always kind of said
very masochist similarities to have.
I'm a bit more careful with it now, promoting it, because I don't want to tell someone unfit to go running. Like I've had a lot of injuries from not prepping for things and then being like, I should have prepped for it.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got like a very, very strong base and the challenge is, I guess, quote unquote, somewhat achievable. Yeah. Like for example, the push-ups, right?
Yeah.
We're both fit. We both train. We want to do 3,000 push-ups. It took us about 6 hours.
Yeah.
We weren't injured.
No.
Couldn't wipe my ass for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But like,
you recover.
You still pushed the boundaries. You got to test yourself.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to spend 6 months burying push-ups.
Yeah.
So you kind of get like this, I guess, mental adaptations without actually like committing to the training.
I think because I have such a powerlifting base though, like, I mean, obviously my whole philosophy is strength. That's why I coach. I always think that the reason that I can do these challenges and jump into these challenges is because I have such like a strong strength foundation. Like my muscles are conditioned in the sense of like lifting lots of heavy loads. So I feel like that's like why I can jump in. I think if I came from the other aspect of like, if I was an endurance athlete only, like I only just did running or whatever my sport, like endurance stuff would be, I don't think I'd perform as well in these challenges because I haven't got that muscular capability.
You're more prone to injury, I reckon, if you go from running into like full-time running, no strength training, into trying to do 6 hours of push-ups.
Yeah.
I
think that's why I can do these challenges off no training and not injure myself, is because I have that. Like we're talking with who we're talking with? Who did we go? We saw Hall, James Hall.
Yeah.
We're talking to James Hall, and he was saying about the ski erg stuff of like that. His power, he can squat 250 for reps or pull 300 for reps. So like his power that he's pulling on the ski erg is like 50% of what he can actually do compared to most people, which is like 70 or 80%.
Yeah, and I mean, interestingly, when we spoke to him and James, so anyone listening, James Hall has the ski 1,000 and 2,000 meter ski world record, right? He said he only did a 12-week prep.
Yeah.
Which is wildly short.
Yeah.
Like I've spent 6 months getting subpar efforts on challenges before. And he did that in 3 months. It's crazy. And I think that's because he's fucking 120 kgs built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah. So do you have any inspiration now to actually get stronger? Or
Nah. Nah. Stick to my world.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, like, I think in the endurance world, I definitely still am biased towards, like, I would say I'm too strong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be this strong, sorry.
Yeah.
For what I do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't have, like, its advantages. And, like, I think it allows me to then, like what you're saying, I can go jump into this record or this challenge. And I think that the prep involved to get to the outcome I want is less time than maybe what someone else has because that base is so even.
Yeah.
So I don't think being stronger from an endurance perspective would make me heaps better unless, of course, we have to stipulate what's endurance, right? Because like James Hall's 1,000 meters, is that endurance?
No.
Like that's maximum power output, right?
Yeah.
Couple of minutes of work. But I mean, that's still a kind of endurance, isn't it? So
Cool.
I'm talking like ultra endurance.
You put me on an ultra marathon, I'd probably crumble. But I mean, like, I did the weighted vest. I averaged 185 heart rate for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So, like, obviously, I'm not conditioned for that. But like, it's just suck. It's like I just sit in it and just enjoy that pain and that feeling of my heart jumping out of my chest the whole 2 hours.
You know, I was speaking to someone the other day, well, actually yesterday, but depending on when her podcast goes out.
Yeah.
And I've actually a lot of people I've spoken to recently have said to me like they don't think about quitting. Yeah. I fucking constantly think about quitting. I don't know if people were just telling me because like, yeah, I never wanted to quit. It's like maybe I'm just weak, but I'm constantly thinking about quitting. When you've done some of these challenges, what's going through your head?
Dude, I survive, not pass out. I think having people around you is like the massive one. Like I had you yelling at me the whole time, saying I'm a weak dog all the way through this whole entire
positive reinforcement. Yeah.
What's going through my head? I think about. I mean, of course, you think about quitting. Like but like in those situations, I can't. Like I have too much self-respect. I feel like you have the same thing. Like the standards you hold for yourself are just way too high. That if you quit, you couldn't live with yourself of like that thought of like, I could have kept going. And I would never want to reflect on that and stop and then wish I'd kept on going. And like, you always think about afterwards, you're like, oh, did I actually want to stop there? Or was it just my mind playing tricks on me? I think I just have too much. I think about quitting, but I can't see a situation unless I'm like obviously hurting myself. And like I can feel like an injury coming on where I'd want to stop. Most of the time, like I don't feel an injury as such. It just feels super uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is hard to work out what's an injury and what you should or shouldn't push through. It's very hard to decide. I think.
I mean, I didn't. The walking lunge is probably the closest I've ever come to a challenge like you've done, where it's just like such long muscular endurance. Where I'm like, oh, am I getting?
It's funny you say that, right? Here. Because like we still did 6 hours of push-ups. That's still a long time.
That's fair. Actually.
That took. Do you know what we fucked up with that as well? Just quietly
playing Mario Kart halfway through it.
Well, yeah, we were playing. Yeah, that's right. I think there's a big part of endurance. It's about distraction. Yeah, like I'm massively pro distraction. Yeah, because sometimes you just got to get out of your own head. Like you're saying, when people are there, you can have conversations, play Mario Kart, watch Netflix, like. You just need to distract yourself sometimes, I reckon.
Yesterday at uni, the students were doing like their like a VO2 max test basically, where they had to like just go all out for 20 minutes on the bike. And no joke, the ones that did well, they pulled up like videos of like Subway Surfers, and they just sat there watching someone play Subway Surfers. And I was like, that literally is how they got through that discomfort. Otherwise, you're just sitting with your own thoughts, and that's probably more dangerous. If you can like distract yourself, watch someone play Subway Surfers, watch someone play Minecraft or whatever it is that you want to watch, movies.
VO2 max is interesting though, because I was, just before you said that, I was about to say, I reckon there's a certain point where that is kind of doesn't work. So like up to a certain heart rate almost. Yeah. Because when the effort is, I don't know, let's call it 120 to 150 beats per minute.
Yep.
I feel like I can watch things, I can lose myself, I can be distracted. But as soon as it kind of peaks into that like max effort type stuff,
yeah,
I can't have distraction like that.
No,
I have to have headphones. Like I have to. That's where I have to dig. Yeah,
yeah. I think maybe it gets you to that point, and then you can start digging. Yeah. But if you don't have that distraction early on, you're starting digging from 120 beats per minute. That's a long time to be sucking.
Yeah, I mean, you weighted vest, when you did the weighted vest, it was 185, but I saw photos when I was going through the videos, I was like seeing 197s and stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard. Like I saw those heart rates, but I'm like, it'll calm itself down. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to pass out. It didn't, but I don't know. You just suck it up and get through. There was no way I could pull out of that. I couldn't pull out of that halfway through. I mean, I probably could have, but
No, you would. No way you could have. Imagine you being like to me when we're there and there's people there, like your buddy there.
I'm not gonna like.
That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think having people around you, like when you do all of your challenges, having people around you can be actually really good because you have people there that you're like. I mean, for me, it's like I don't want to let these people down.
Depends who. Depends who. Yeah, I think like you for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I hate having like my mum there or something.
Yeah.
Because their natural instinct a lot of the time with family is to be like, oh, you've done enough, like
caring for you,
and they try and like show empathy.
You want people to just tell you you're a weak dog and just to keep going.
Yeah, I think it's about having people, and I mean everyone's different. Chelsea is my partner, like she's very much like support.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think you and I are pretty similar where it's like just lighthearted, keep going, fuck off, like move.
I think support's hard. Like I need people there to hold me to a higher standard than what I can hold because that's what's going to lift me up. Because if I go rely on my own standards, that's where I'm going to give up earlier. Having people around you that are going to lift you to a higher standard is, I think, what's going to get you to achieve more than you think was capable. Like doing the doubles afterwards, I was cooked, but Shelley, the partner that I did it with, she was the one that was pushing my intensity, like the runs and like to keep on going at a faster rate. Whereas I wanted to give up or slow down because I'm suffering. But having her there like to pull me forward and keep me accountable and lift me to a higher standard is what allowed me to push and get that better time. Like your mental cap of what you think is possible is lower than what you actually can achieve. So that's why I like having people around me that are going to pull me to a higher standard. And it's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. But that's what we're doing it for. And that's what sets the bar higher.
Yeah. 100%.
Like the walking lunges. If you weren't there, I was going to stop for sure. I'm not going to do 5Ks of walking lunges. Are you kidding me?
Well, I did leave and you still did it.
Yeah, but that's just like my word. I'm like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you've got a very strong like integrity. Like if you say you're going to do something, you're very, I can see that in you through exercise challenges, but just in general, like.
You know, I didn't learn that until we did like our Chasing Hard retreat where you kind of asked us like, what are your main core beliefs or like core, how do you phrase it? Like core.
Like your value system.
Value system, yeah, my value system. And like integrity was one of those ones that kind of came up and I was like, man, my word is like my everything. And so that's where that really helped me frame a lot of the challenges we did after that because if I've said yes to something, I can't go against my word anymore.
Yeah, and you always say yes.
Yeah, no, I say yes.
You always say yes.
But like having that, like that same philosophy is everything in my life. I put myself now into situations. Like since meeting you, like you have been a massive catalyst to my growth, I think, in my life, in my space. It's because like you've held me to that higher standard. And it's like, I put myself in situations now wherever I can with people who are having higher standards, doing more, doing better than I am, so I can lift to that place. Like whether it's like I'm in like the Prescript family with like my education and like seeing all those coaches and what they're doing, what they're achieving. It's like, oh, I can achieve so much more. Like the 5 closest people kind of idea. It's massive. And like having friends and people like you in my life is what allows me to push that to a higher standard. If I didn't have that, I'd just be coasting through. I'd be, I know, coaching a couple hours and thinking on the bee's knees.
I do get that 100%. And I mean, I've even got to be careful with it now. And you still got to be careful with it because you don't even realize sometimes that it's happening.
Yeah.
And like, I actually remember this, I had this call a while back with a very high business owner that was just like, you know, I think he had an exit for like close to $1 billion, right? Jumped on the phone with him, had a 30-second conversation with him about the business, and he just ripped me to shreds, right? But it just changed my perception again of like what's possible.
Yep.
And I think it's just like you've got to find those moments, whether it be through like exercise or business or life or whatever. But when you find people that are just so much higher than you in that area, it does naturally just raise your expectations. And I think that's what's really cool about challenges. Obviously, I think it's cool about challenges. I fucking made my whole world around challenges. But I think you go like, it's so simple, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to go do that push-up challenge. Sweet. Next time you go do a set of 10 push-ups, it's fucking piss.
Yeah. That expectation, that threshold is so much higher now. I had something else on that. I forgot what it was now. Damn. Yeah.
I mean, like even when you did, I had my first realization moment of that was the marathon that I first did.
Yeah.
And yours is obviously the lunges.
Yeah, I think the lunges, yeah.
But I think once you do that, it does kind of keep you coming back? Like you just keep going back and back and back and back because there's like a feeling that's almost a little bit hard to articulate, I reckon.
I don't think you can understand it unless you do something so outside your comfort zone and put yourself in that space. I don't think you can understand the feeling or what it feels like or that desire to go back there again. It sounds dumb that we want to be putting ourselves in pain.
It sounds so hard to explain.
I think people, like, we need that though. And that's like thinking about the future and like, I think looking at like teaching the uni students now, like the 20-year-olds and stuff, we've become very comfortable in our world. Like AI and ChatGPT and stuff, studying now is so much easier, but that takes out the challenge. And I think that's perception of what we think is possible is now becoming so much lower because we're so comfortable. We're not doing things that are going to extend that ceiling. And if we don't do those hard things to extend that ceiling, then we're not going to be progressing, not going to be growing. We almost need to make things uncomfortable in some aspects so that we can keep progressing and we have that feeling of satisfaction. I was never as satisfied with my life as I am now, and that's because I'm challenging and making myself uncomfortable. That satisfaction you have within yourself once you do those hard things, you can't match that. I just don't think you can. And I think if we make it too comfortable, then we're going to lose that satisfaction. And like, my mental health is so much higher now or so much better now because of those hard things. And you were saying, it's like when we did the core values on the Chasing Hard retreats, like if you don't tick these core values off each week or each month, something's missing. Like you were saying, like you stopped doing challenges for a while and you're like, something's missing in my life. Like I need to tick that box or scratch that itch because that's the satisfaction you get. And that's what makes you human. So I like doing these challenges now because it kind of gives me that satisfaction and that I feel good mentally. When I don't do it for a few months because you haven't asked me to do something crazy or stupid, I don't know, there's something that's like my mental health suffers a little bit because I'm not getting challenged and not getting pushed.
Yeah. I mean, in its simplest form, right? If you're outside and cold, do you know how good a fucking being warm is?
Yeah, it makes it so much more fun.
And I know that sounds so oversimplification, but like, I think that it's like a health bar, right? Like you go out and do something that sucks, you appreciate all these other things in your life for a longer period of time, and then it kind of runs out and you forget what it was like. You just got to top it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like a 24-hour world record. Like it's subjective as well, right? Like if you just uncomfortable is different to everyone, but like I think that's the power of it is like go out, do something hard, and then you appreciate your everyday life a lot more on top of all the other benefits and, you know, breaking barriers and all these other things. But I do think just in the simplest format, like, man, a warm meal after being in the freezing cold for fucking 24 hours just hits different.
Yeah.
And then the warm meal every day after that for like a few months, you're like, this is the sweet stuff.
That's why I go to that's why we still do the beach every Monday, like go to the cold ocean all through winter. I don't do it because it's like good for my muscles or anything like that. I just do it because it sucks. And it's got that little bit of a weekly itch of like, I'm doing something that's not comfortable for me. That I'm like, cool, every week I get a little bit of discomfort and I can obviously like keep going throughout the rest of the week. Mentally, I feel so good. If I don't do that, then
you got to hold the mic straight, buddy. Yeah.
If I don't do that, then I'm missing something in my life.
Yeah, I get that. It's a bit cliche though, isn't it? Like being like, go do hard things because it makes you a better person and it makes you, but it's the reality of it.
I think you got to have the mindset though of like, I'm doing this hard thing so it can suck. When it gets comfortable, then it's not hard enough anymore.
Yeah.
I think you got to have that mindset of like, why are you doing this hard thing? Is it to reset your standard? Are you just doing it to get likes on Instagram? Like I don't post the beach anymore because I don't know. I don't want the likes for it. I'm doing it because I want to challenge myself and do uncomfortable things.
Yeah, I get that. I think there's definitely some people out there that do it for the clout.
The clout. Yeah,
the clout. Like
clout chasing.
Which, I mean, like arguably it's still, like even if they do it for the wrong reasons, it still probably has the same benefit for them in a lot of ways. I've often think about that, like doing something good for the wrong reasons is still doing something good, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, so they're like, they might come out of it and they're like, that fucking sucked. I did it for the wrong reasons, but I still got the same benefits.
Yeah. I think it's also like in the space of like that vulnerability of like you are entering a space where you are quite vulnerable. Like I've seen you know, at 2:00 in the morning crying because like it's so like it's that vulnerability. But those vulnerable moments is I think where you learn a lot and you develop close relationships with the people around you and the people that are helping you in those kind of situations.
100%. And I think that's probably something we haven't spoken about. That's probably one of the most underrated things is like the bonds that you form that are forged through fucking the fire is just like Alex and I came close from his run. Like we were close a little bit before that through some stuff. But when I went to Sydney and supported his run from Sydney to Melbourne, it was like straight away. And it's the same with you, like doing the retreat, doing the challenges we've done. It's just, it like skips it 10 years. It's crazy. Because you can't, like you said, I show you 100% of myself.
Yeah, there's no way to hide. You can't hide when you're at 2 o'clock in the morning in pain.
Yeah, yeah. Crying, like, it is crazy.
And that's where the people that I'm closest with are the ones I've suffered with. And I wouldn't change that for anything. I think that's where you really see the true people. You find out your true self in those moments of like sucking and like that vulnerability. And so you learn who you are deep down. Like there's no ego hiding it. There's no like masking or fronting up. Like that is your raw self. And in those situations, the people around you get to see that as well. And if they still stick around, then you know that they're a good one and like they're good. And that connection that you have, that connection you develop, like we've known each other for 4 years. We've only probably hung out. We've never hung out. We've never hung out.
This is the only time we've hung out outside of a challenge.
Yeah, literally. Like we only catch up and do hard stuff together. But
that's such a good point.
You're one of my closest friends because we've had such vulnerable, like shitty like times.
Yeah.
Can I swear? Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is such a good point. I reckon on Dead Set and the times that we've actually hung out outside of a challenge would be like 3 to 4.
At the most.
Oh, that's wild.
And there's like, we hang out for maybe like an hour and then that's it. Like,
that's actually fucking wild.
Not because like we don't like hanging out with each other, but just because like...
just busy lives and that. But like,
yeah,
that is crazy. And yet
that's
just the power of suffering, isn't it?
We've seen each other's deepest, darkest selves, which I think is what makes us so close and bonded so well.
Yeah, so if you want to make friends, go do something fucked up and invite them, and then you'll know which ones you want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think that's where like things like run clubs and stuff are quite powerful because not that you're getting uncomfortable as such, but you are in spaces where you are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As like not like just like your cliche go for coffee, go for a chat.
Man, I'm loving these I'm loving all these little health and fitness micro communities that are popping up. I reckon they're sick.
Yeah, massively.
I've made so many friends through these type of little communities, like the Chasing Hard weekends that I was doing for a while. Actually, from that, I've made like 4 of my closest mates from that. Like even like Dave, I met Dave at that
Chasing Hard?
Yeah, Dave Gretsch, another bloody challenge. He'll probably listen to this as well, so shouts out Dave. He came down to a Chasing Hard weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it does when you go and put yourself out in these like communities with other people, you create friendships so much faster.
And I think it's authentic friendships. And like, you know, I've got friends who I've had friends for like, you know, years and stuff, but then you kind of like drift apart and like you kind of maybe see different aspects of them and you're like, oh, actually we're not super compatible, but there's nowhere to hide in these spaces. Yeah,
well, it's different, right? When you go through, I mean, like school, university, whatever, you've got a select few people to choose from. So you're like, there's like, you know, 50% of the people you're probably never going to talk to, and then there's like 20 guys or something. So you choose like your top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So, but when you get out into the real world, you choose your friendships.
Yeah.
And I think once you start developing interests and values and things, then you start forming these like actually strong friendships. And I definitely noticed that through like early 20s versus late 20s. In early 20s, it was like the friends that I still had in high school. And then late 20s is like these new friendships that you've created through things of interest to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, my interests are pretty niche. So, but still, like it is a powerful thing.
So I'm thinking if you want to go on a first date with someone, you just choose a really fucked up challenge.
Oh, yeah. I reckon.
And see how you suffer together.
100%. That's actually mad. You should just invite like a person you're seeing to like invite your Tinder date to your 24-hour record. And if they watch you cry and still love you, you're all good.
You're all good. You're on it.
Yeah.
It just saves you so much because like everyone puts up a front when it's a comfortable place.
Yeah, and I mean, even like non-intentionally, like it's not like I rock up to catching up with you for the first time. It's not like you intentionally bring this front, right? But you're not just going to be like, yeah, sometimes I cry at 2 a.m. you know? So I think it falsifies it.
Yeah. And I like that. I like to see the raw you, the real you. And
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy.
Through suckfests.
Don't frame it like that to your Tinder date.
Yeah, I'm doing a suckfest this Saturday. Come down.
Come down. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Reframe that one.
God. Well, on that note, we might end on suckfest, I reckon. Yeah. All right.
Good.
Thanks for your time, dude.
Anytime, man.
See you on the next suckfest.
Well, yeah. What's it going to be? I want to do burpees. I thought we were going to do like a burpee challenge or something.
Well, actually, before we do wrap up, I've got a question. I always forget to ask it, but I've started asking it.
Oh, yeah.
What's one challenge you would never do, but you'd want to see someone else do?
I would never do.
You say yes to a lot.
I say I'd do everything, I reckon. But I'm not a runner, so I love watching all these like crazy endurance runs. So I think I enjoyed watching things like King of the Hill, where it's like not like your normal just run, but it's like some kind of like endurance run of like going up some kind of like difficult thing. I'm basically like King of the Hill.
Yeah, well, you did do King
I
of the
did
Hill,
do King
though,
of the
so
Hill.
that's kind of out.
Damn, what's a hard thing that I could not imagine doing myself? Okay, tell you what it is. I think doing some kind of like, the thing that scares me the most would be some kind of swim. Like watching people do like the crossing the channel, like swimming in that space.
Yeah, like Ross Edgley stuff.
Yeah, because swimming, there is no, like you are stuck with your mind. Like you can't watch videos, listen to music as such. And you're at the turmoil of like the ocean and like the wind and the weather. Like there is no escape. You can't hide in the shelter. You can't like, I don't know, just sit down for a little bit and eat food.
Scary sea creatures, man. Like that's like straight up.
Yeah.
It's like the fear of what's under you.
What's under you, you can't see it. It's a pitch black. Like you can't see what's underneath you at any time. So that scares like the bee's knees out of me. Like I can't even imagine doing some kind of like endurance swim. So whether it's like, whether it's like, I can't even imagine what swimming's involved. Like, can you swim to Tasmania? I don't think you can.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm pretty sure there is some story of someone who did that. So
yeah. So some kind of like swimming challenge, whether it's like crossing the channel, people tend to do that already, but anything where swimming, because you are stuck mentally with yourself the whole entire time. And I think that's what would scare me the most, where you haven't got people around you cheering you on or watching you as such. Like you have got support people, but you are stuck with your mind the whole entire challenge.
Yeah, it would be very, very gross. I think actually quite a few people have said that same thing.
Oh, really?
Like, well, not specifically that, but swimming Ross Edgley's, because yeah, it's just the fear of the unknown as well. Like there's just, and if you like, can't swim while you drown, you know,
The fear of death is very adamant.
Yeah. All right. So for next challenge that I asked you to do off 24 hours notice, I'm going to make sure it's a swimming challenge then.
To be honest, that's probably like one of the only things that you asked me to do. I'll probably say no.
All right. We'll find out. All right. Let's round there.